Despite the great difficulties Lūṭ faced in Sodom, he was known for his generosity, especially as a host. However, Lūṭ saw hospitality not only as a means to invite people to the right path, but also as a means to protect them from the dangers of the people of Sodom, who would attack anyone that entered the city. Nevertheless, Lūṭ's wife would secretly betray his activities to the townspeople. Whenever Lūṭ had guests in his house, his wife would secretly signal the people by lighting a fire on her roof if the guests arrived at night, or by using smoke signals if they came during the day. Time and time again, the people of Sodom warned Lūṭ against protecting the new visitors to the city under the impression of hosting them. They told him, "We forbid you from interfering in our affairs with people. Do not host any guest who comes to you. If you do, we promise to attack them and disgrace you." 30 years had passed since Lūṭ had first come to Sodom. Despite his tireless efforts to guide these people, no one but his own daughters had embraced his message. God sent 4 angels to give the Sodomites one final test, and if they failed, to destroy them. God told them to wait until Lūṭ testified against his people 3 times. It was a Tuesday when Lūṭ was working in his fields outside of the city. He saw the 4 men dressed in white, but their faces were hidden, so he couldn't identify them. As they drew near, he became anxious about their safety and worried that he might not be able to protect them from the people of Sodom. The 4 men asked if he would host them for the night. He replied, "My brothers, the people of this city are wicked. May God's curse be upon them, for they will harm you and steal all your belongings." Upon hearing Lūṭ's words, the angels silently noted to themselves, "This marks Lūṭ's first testimony against his people." With hesitation, he guided them towards the city gates. As they approached, he turned and whispered, trying desperately to make them reconsider. Upon hearing Lūṭ's words, the angels silently noted to themselves, "This marks Lūṭ's second testimony against his people." Once they entered the city, Lūṭ led them quietly through the back alleys, away from anyone's sight. Lūṭ repeated once again, "These are the worst of God's creatures." Upon hearing Lūṭ's words, the angels silently noted to themselves, "This marks Lūṭ's third testimony against his people." When they arrived at Lūṭ's home, they made themselves comfortable. Lūṭ approached his wife privately and said, "I have brought some guests to stay the night. You must keep this a secret. I know you have betrayed me countless times before, but if you honor my request this time, I will forgive all the previous times." She promised him, but as soon as he left to attend to his guests, she went to the rooftop and lit her signal fire. Seeing her signal, the Sodomites were attracted to their house, driven by lust. Lūṭ had barely settled the guests when he heard the pounding at his door. Distressed, he understood that his wife had betrayed him once more. He cautiously opened the door, hoping to prevent his people from harming his guests. He pleaded with them, saying, "These are my guests. Please don't disgrace me by hurting them and fear God." They replied, "Didn't we warn you not to interfere with our affairs?" Lūṭ said, "Marry my daughters. They are more pure for you. Fear God and do not shame me by attacking my guests. Is there not among you a sensible person?" They responded, "You know exactly what we desire." With deep distress in his voice, Lūṭ exclaimed, partly to himself, "If only I had the strength to stop you or could find some strong support." From behind him, his guests said to him with a reassuring voice, "Do not be afraid and do not worry. We will save you and your family except for your wife." Then they removed their face coverings and said, "Lūṭ, we are messengers from your Lord. They won't harm you." They were God's angels in human form, Lūṭ's protectors, guaranteeing punishment for his people and safety for him and his daughters. They said, "We have been sent to these wicked people to rain down upon them stones of clay. We intended to save the believers in the city, but we found only one household of believers, and that is yours. So, leave with your family tonight and do not look back. As for your people, their appointed time of destruction is in the morning. As for your wife, she will share their fate, for God has decreed that she must be among those who remain. The angels told Lūṭ, "Back away from the door and let them enter." Lūṭ let them enter, and the lustful eyes of his people fell upon the four men standing there. Some of them rushed towards them. An angel raised his finger and with a sweeping movement, blinded them all. They scrambled out of the house in any way they can and warned the others about the magic Lūṭ had used against them. When the mob had cleared, the angels reminded Lūṭ that they must flee from the city before morning so that they could carry out their divine mission. Lūṭ's wife was nowhere to be found. She had slipped out of the house during the chaos and had returned to her own family. Lūṭ and his daughters quickly left the city before the next morning's sunrise. As the sun rose, they were already far away from the city when they felt the vibrations beneath their feet. Lūṭ knew that it had begun. At sunrise, there was a tremendous explosion in Sodom. The earth started shaking violently, and a fierce wind showered them with shards of sandstone, each designated for its destined target in God's plan. The four angels raised the entire city into the air and held it there until God commanded them. Then they threw it into the sea, burying it completely. Lūṭ and his daughters returned to Hebron, where they spent the rest of their days alongside Ibrahim, assisting him in spreading God's message to anyone they encountered.